Well, my wife, Virginia Chaitin, is a fan of the philosopher Paul Feyerabend. This happens to be the centenary of his birth. And there's a book of Feyerabend that my wife likes, a posthumous book called The Conquest of Abundance. And that title is very strange because what Feyerabend is saying is that I've been plagiarizing some of his ideas actually in this dialogue. Reality is infinitely rich. And we suppress that richness with our theories.
There is some kind of a sentence that looks like that in Whitehead. I think it's in Process and Reality that it turns, I don't remember the exact sentence, but it says something like, the world is overwhelmed by itself. Like it's just like completely, it's more than itself because it's always its own motion. So it's always going beyond itself. So you can't predict. You can see something, but the borders are not real borders, even if they exist at time t1. They're already overwhelming themselves. So infinity could be, in a way, we could say that's time itself. Time itself that is space overwhelming itself with time because it's changing. I don't know if it is clear what I actually said, but in my mind, it's quite clear. But I don't know if it is expressed in a quite accurate way.
Yeah, I personally find Whitehead incomprehensible.
Really?
I know there are many people, I think including my wife, who are fans of Whitehead. So, yeah.
Now, because,
I understand Bertrand Russell better than I understand
sure.
Alfred North Whitehead.
Yes, of course. Bertrand Russell is very much some kind of I would say like, it's more binary, I would say. It's more
He's
like, it is that, is it true or is it untrue? Or is it, so it's like, discrete philosopher in this way on a philosophical point of view.
Yeah, as a mathematician, I can understand what Russell is saying, but I'm not a philosopher, so Whitehead escapes me. I can't.
It's interesting because there are both philosophers in a way, and are both mathematicians. As you know, they work together to write Principia Mathematica.
Right.
But in my view, it's like if Bertrand Russell was trying to make philosophy into mathematics, and Whitehead was doing the other way. He was trying to make mathematics into philosophy, and so that did different results.
That's beautifully put. Yeah.
So now, talking about,
but I think that infinity. I have a coffee table book, by the way, I picked up in Buenos Aires. We just packed it to ship it to Brazil from our villa here. It's a book on infinity, and it's infinity in many different areas with beautiful, on one page it describes it, on the other page there's a beautiful color illustration. And the book is intended to provoke, inspire, challenge. It's, our lives seem perhaps sometimes, or maybe all the time, a bit humdrum. And infinity is there beyond us.
But also through us. It's what is interesting.
Yes.
That's the very meaning of transcendence. Because transcendence doesn't mean that it is upstairs or downstairs, on the right, on the left. It's actually that means that goes through us, but it goes beyond. It doesn't stay us. It is more than us, but it's also us. Like it's through us that it's going actually beyond. It's a bit like the idea of a source, but a source that is not outside, but is inside and outside in the same time. The source is the connection itself. So do you think there is a relation between infinity and transcendence? Because I know you love theology and you don't disregard theology.
Right. I think, what did I want to say? I think, in a way we imagine infinity, we create infinities, but you can try approaching infinity by writing down big numbers. For example, 10 raised to the 100th power. That's a 1 followed by 100 zeros is a very big number. But what about 10 raised to that power? So that's 10 raised to the 10 raised to the 100. I think somebody called this one was called a Google or something. The other was called a Googleplex. Well, anyway, this number is so big, 10 raised to the 10 raised to the 100, that it can't be written in the visible universe. It's more than the number of atoms in everything we can see through our most powerful telescopes.
Yes.
And it's a very small number because you can easily write down much bigger numbers. There are ways to write down enormously big numbers. This is something that I believe that the Hindus enjoyed doing. They would say something like, there's a mountain made of diamond that is, a kilometer square, and every 1,000 years a bird flies over it and sheds a tear. In the amount of time, eventually, the tears of this once every 1,000-year bird will wear away the diamond mountain. It's going to take a long, long time.
Sure.
But all of this is just a blink of the eye of Shiva. They like to think of these immensely big numbers.
It doesn't matter if it takes a long time, because we basically have all the time. Because
well, these are numbers we're imagining that are unreal. They're so big. Another version of this has to do with the chessboard. There's the story that the person who invented chess pleased a ruler, and the ruler said, what reward can I give you for inventing this wonderful game? And he said, my request is very modest, O king, or whatever it was the title of the ruler. Just put 1 grain of wheat on the first square, 2 on the second square, 4 on the next square, 8 on the next square, 16 on the next square, and just double the number of grains of wheat each time. Well, it turns out, that's an amount of wheat that is absolutely monstrous. I don't know if it would cover the planet Earth or reach to Mars or something. Totally impossible for anyone to. And then, there's Archimedes actually has a text it's in Greek, of course, called, in Greek it's something like the Samiad, or there's something to do with the sand reckoner is the title in English. And he's trying to calculate how many grains of sand there are on Earth and to estimate it. And he has to invent new notations for these big numbers. But in the end, he actually writes down a number that is a reasonable estimate, maybe it's an upper bound, on the number of grains of sand on Earth. And so this shows that infinity, there's a certain romance of infinity, of the fact that we can imagine numbers so big that we can't write them down.
You can't even say that it's romantic. There is something romantic about infinity. Like even when the poet look at the horizon, look far and say, infinity, like a poetry. There's like, when he thinks about infinity, it's just an emotion. Infinity could be an emotion in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
so this is part of what happened with the French Enlightenment. In the end of clearing, in the end, God has sort of disappeared for a lot of people, extreme materialism. And the only thing left of God perhaps is infinity.
But
if you're a materialist.
In your vision, because now we can make some assumption because we arrive at the end of those decisions. Is infinity the truth?
Does infinity really exist?
I mean, first, is it the
infinite?
truth of the universe? Is it the real key, the things that is like, when the closer you get to infinity, the closer you get to what is the truth. But like the real truth, if I can say, like the Greek will put in, the closer you get burned. So you can't never reach the truth because you'll be totally burned before you reach it. That's the reason why we could say infinity is dangerous, because it burns you. It's paradox, the name of the paradoxes that they can't overcome. That might be this fire.
I think it's inspiring that human beings have imagined all these infinities. infinitely big sets and even bigger infinite sets and bigger and bigger and bigger.
But at the end, instead of imagining, let's put it this way, what I trying to say, just the very fact intellectually that we can have bigger and bigger infinities or smaller and smaller infinities, isn't it the some kind of the proof or something that infinity is more than this infinity that you can actually have the intuition in a certain group of things, certain group of numbers, etc., but might be something deeper than that, that is actually goes beyond that, goes through all those ensembles, and at the end, it's, even if you can measure it partially, saying there are bigger number, and then the natural number, the decimal number, etc., that are bigger. At the end, it is just that every time you try to get into reality in a deeper way, whatever the ensemble is, being an abstract ensemble like the numbers, or being a concrete ensemble of things there, every time you try to do that, you just, face infinity. Beyond the comparison between the different kind of infinity. And so on that way, we could say that infinity is not only those different parts that every time we can to grab them, because we could say like the natural number are part of the world of mathematics, or this table is part of the empirical world, right? Every time we try to do that, we can see that beyond that, maybe infinity is the totality of the world. It's actually the totality of the world, because you can see that it's everywhere in the different parts, being abstract parts or being concrete parts.